10 minutes of free time. Hundreds of viable candidates. That's a typical day for a recruiter like Janice. It starts with her. She's hustling to fill several business-critical roles at Flexus. There's a product launch coming up and the team is short-handed. She can't just wait for the perfect candidate to walk through the door. And with so many people vying for her attention, she needs an easy way to identify the few who are most likely to thrive. Someone, perhaps, like Emmett. He's an active job seeker and comes to LinkedIn daily to connect to people, information, and opportunities. Based on his skills and experience, he could be a perfect fit for the open role at Flexus. But they're just not on his radar. Until this morning, when an intelligent algorithm matches him to Janice's open role. When he reads the job description, it looks like a fit. He sees that a college friend works there. Now, he's wondering if he can get a referral. It could also be Rachel. She's comfortable in her current role, even if she hasn't been inspired lately. While checking LinkedIn at home, she reads a post from Flexus that really resonates with her. She realizes it may be time to signal that she's open to change. These are just two of the millions of candidate journeys that cross LinkedIn every day, setting up recruiters like Janice to be successful. Here, she has the power to start, spark, and redirect any candidate's journey, and automatically identify top candidates long before they've entered the ATS. This is how Janice strengthens every stage of her hiring funnel and buys herself time to do what she does best: spend quality time with quality candidates. It's how she'll build a winning team to nail this product launch and the next one. Recruiters like Janice know you can't measure success by just tracking where a candidate's journey ends. It's about where they've been and the path that leads them to you. It all starts here.
Lights, camera, action. Welcome to another LinkedIn live stream. It's Monday morning. I hope you had a fabulous weekend. My name is Stuart Samkange. Welcome. Happy Monday to you. Today, like we did last week, we're starting off this week by talking about jobs. That's why you saw me up with a clicker board, because today we're talking about jobs. Jobs for a specific community, a community that is known as the teaching fraternity. But before we even get started, I need to ensure you can hear me, that we're actually online, and that you are engaged for this 30-minute live stream where we'll be talking about how to get a Rockstar teacher into your academic institution. So if you can hear me, jump into the chats, let me know you can hear me, and of course, let me know where you're watching from, because the territory I cover is fairly large. That territory includes Southern Eastern Europe, Central Eastern Europe, Africa, Turkey, Greece, Malta, Israel, and of course, other outlying organizations, other outlying regions. So definitely, if you are watching, let me know where you're watching from so I can make today's discussion contextual to your geography. In today's discussion, we're going to be, of course, talking about how to hire a Rockstar teacher or a Rockstar teaching assistant or even a substitute teacher. But before we even get into that, as usual, I have a question for the day. On Friday, I had an ask, and I will share it just now. But my question for today, if you think back on the journey that you've been through schools, through colleges, through universities, and of course, you interacted with a number of teachers and mentors and coaches and educators, what made them stand out? The ones who had the most profound impact on you. What made them stand out? That's my question for the day. Definitely pop it into the chat so that we can see what are some of the qualities that you identify that help teachers shine. It's time to shine on this show. Let's see who else is shining by being online with us as we say good morning to some of the people who are online. And before I even do that, I shouldn't do this alone. Let me bring in my friend Marius, who's helping me manage this live stream. Marius, are you there? And can we bring you onto the live stream? Good morning.
Happy Monday morning, everybody, from a
Yeah.
very cold and wet Johannesburg. I hope everybody is feeling warmer and happier.
Oh, wow. It's cold in Johannesburg. Well, you have no idea what cold is. Come out to Ireland. We've got a big bright light up. I think they call it the sun, but I'm still wearing a sweater, right? But then again, I'm a solar-powered African, so I guess that happens. Marius, there's a couple of people who have joined online for this live stream on how to hire a Rockstar teacher or teaching assistant or substitute teacher. Before we get into that, let's say good morning to a couple of people. Help me shout out some of the people you're seeing and where they're watching from, all the way from Dubai. My brother, good morning to you. Who else are we seeing online, Marius?
We're seeing Sophiana, Logan, Naila, Wesley. Welcome, everybody. It's fantastic to have you here.
Amazing to have
Durban.
you on.
I'm assuming Durban's going to be a little nicer, the weather this morning, than the rest of the world.
Yeah? You think Durban's going to be good weather today?
Absolutely. Tunde, thanks for calling in from Nigeria.
Wow, we got representation from different parts of the world, which is fantastic because that's what this is all about. It's giving you a chance to ask questions. And in terms of questions, the format for today is I've got a couple of slides I want to share with you, which will give us some structure. And then I'm going to have Marius be watching, of course, for the comments. And of course, I've got some colleagues that are online that are going to be also helping answer some of your questions in the chat. So if you have questions, don't hold back. If you're a job seeker, if you're a recruiter, if you're a hiring manager, if you're a lecturer, whatever role you're playing, I've got a whole team of people that I'm going to introduce to you that are waiting in the chat to answer your questions. Marius, I'm not going to waste too much time. It's Monday morning. People are busy. I'm going to go straight into our presentation. So that means kicking you off camera, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Oh, what a way to start a Monday, kicking somebody off camera. All right, so what are we covering today? Of course, like I said, we're talking about how to hire a Rockstar teacher or teaching assistant. And we've got a couple of slides. And of course, like I said, if you've got questions, ask Marius in the chat. In terms of who is this live stream aimed at helping? This live stream is aimed at helping two communities. The first community is, of course, those in higher education that are in roles that can hire teachers. Those who are principals, headmasters, vice chancellors, recruiters, or talent acquisition professionals. This live stream is aimed at you, helping you understand some of the ways that LinkedIn is helping academic institutions, from helping them in terms of, first of all, understanding where this talent is, what kind of skill this talent has, who else is hiring this talent, so that when we're positioning our institution, we're doing it aligning to what matters to our candidates. So number one is planning. Number two, in terms of actually hiring and bringing people into our organization, there's two ways that LinkedIn helps you and helps your academic institution. How so? We help by giving you two ways to interact with candidates. Number one, you can have a job slots, which means posting your jobs on LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn algorithms will highlight your jobs to the candidates that have the experience, the skills, and of course, the educational qualifications you're looking for. So that's how the jobs work for you. So if you're in hiring or recruiting, we've got a solution that works in the background for you, 24/7, always on. Right. Number two, when we have a teaching job that's hard to hire for, and we have to proactively look for this talent, there's two ways to engage. Traditionally, we would have gone to, of course, hiring agents, or would have put an advert in the newspaper and hope someone would apply. But we can be more strategic. Like I mentioned, we give you planning insights to tell you where this talent is, what skill it has, and how that aligns to your requirements. With those same insights, now you can use LinkedIn's recruiter tool to go out there, get in the inbox of candidates you want to engage, and start having a conversation that ultimately leads to them, of course, applying for the jobs, formally, and of course, being interviewed and hired. Last but not least, we don't stop the journey there in terms of assisting your institution achieve academic excellence. Academic excellence for me is not just student outcomes. It's also a question of ensuring that our staff and our faculty are supported in their growth and delivering on the mandates we have for them. So LinkedIn helps you also develop your talent. But enough about that. Let's get into our live stream. And as I said in our live stream today, I am not alone. I have colleagues that are waiting in the comment section, that are waiting to interact with your questions. So if you have a question, recruiter, hiring manager, or if you are a job seeker, I've got colleagues that are waiting, that are covering most of the African continent. And of course, myself out there to reach out to anyone else outside of the continent. And of course, these details will be shared as we go through the live stream right at the end, so you can take a screen grab of that contact details or even the QR code that's going to give you some of the resources I'll be talking about today. In terms of today and what to expect in today's session, like I said, we're going to be covering what are some of the trends that we're seeing in terms of hiring in higher education. We're going to be talking, of course, about who is out there hiring our teaching community and what it is they're hiring for, what skills are they looking for, and how to identify those people that are the right match for your organization. So what are some of the skills you should look out for? And of course, how to interview. And in terms of interviewing, like we did last week, Monday, when we talked about how to hire a fundraiser or a donor relations manager, the format in terms of interviewing, best practice, is that you test against behavioral questions, you test against hard skills that are required for the job, and essential soft skills that holistically make up the professional that you want in your organization. So in this live stream, I'm going to be showing you some of those top 3 hard questions we ask for: hard skills, soft skills, and of course, for behavioral questions. What's more, if you are a job seeker, I'll be giving some tips in terms of how to get these jobs. Speaking of that, and straight on cue, what are some of the skills that we recommend that job seekers have should they want to be successful in this space? So if you are a job seeker and you're watching and you're looking to transition into higher education, into a college, into a school, into a university, whatever academic institution you're looking to transition to, it pays for you to know what are the most popular and fastest growing skills that are required for one to be successful in this space. Again, if you're watching this and you're a hiring manager, you're a faculty leader, or maybe you sit on an interview panel, some of these courses and tips that I'm recommending here also apply to you. As professionals, like I always do on every live stream, my urgence for you is to make time for learning. Specifically talking about the roles that we're talking about today: teaching, teaching assistant, and substitute teachers. These are the fastest growing skills, or the most in-demand skills, by the way, these are the most popular skills and courses that are aligned to them for those in the teaching profession. Give you a second to take that in. Make time for learning. So as we start talking about these jobs and opportunities, you're going to be saying to yourself, how do I get these? It starts with you making time for learning. I asked earlier on the question for the day, which is, what makes a good teacher great? Or a rock star, right? What makes a good teacher great or a rock star? For me personally, I know a lot of people say, oh, a great teacher is someone who likes teaching. That's what most people say when I ask that question. But my answer is, a great teacher is a teacher who likes learning, right? If your students are going to grow, if your students are going to mimic some of these best practices and some of the things you're encouraging them to do, you should show yourself on that journey of learning. So a great teacher is a teacher that learns. And believe me, recruiters and hiring managers and leaders out there, the one thing they hire is learners, people who are making it a lifelong journey in terms of investing in themselves, because the world of work around us has digitally transformed. In higher education, you saw it more recently when around the world, we were all forced to start teaching online. And we needed to have digital presence. We needed to be interactive. We needed to bring in some of those classroom skills into how we deliver content. Now, if you're not a transformative teacher, you probably struggled during that time. Well, we're here to help. And excuse me, sorry, Monday morning, coffee break, right? Cheers for those who have got coffee or a cup of tea next to you. Let's get on with this. Make time for learning. And like I said, LinkedIn, one of the values and the benefits we provide for those who partner with us is giving you access to these insights so that not only can you use it for hiring, but you can also using it for developing talent that's within your own organization. Speaking of talent, speaking of organization, and speaking of hiring, earlier on last week, I shared with you some of the fastest rising jobs in South Africa. Some of the fastest rising jobs in South Africa. But that's not to say LinkedIn's insights are restricted to South Africa. I know I called out a lot of geographies. I talked about Ghana. I talked about, of course, Turkey, Israel, Greece, Malta. I talked about Southern Eastern Europe. I talked about Poland, Romania, so many countries. We have access to insights to understand the fastest growing jobs. But why am I specifically sharing the South Africa one? I'm sharing the South Africa one because you will note that the third fastest rising job, the job that is in demand, the job on the rise, is the job of educators, specifically some of the ones we're speaking about today. All right, let's get started and let's start talking about how we go about hiring these teachers. If you are engaged, let me know in the chat. And of course, let me bring back Marius on screen and check if we've got any questions so far, Marius. And if I'm projecting well and people can actually hear me. Marius, let me see if I can bring you back on screen. Hey, bud, are you still there? I need to add you. There we go.
Stuart, my friend, you're an absolute rock star. It's the type of energy we enjoy seeing on a Monday morning. No questions just yet. Remember to drop them in the comments. A quick welcome for David from Nairobi and Isaac from Kenya. Welcome and thanks for joining as well.
Oh, we got a couple more people joining. That's fantastic. Welcome, David. So good to have you. As we said, this live stream is aimed at assisting hiring managers, recruiters, talent acquisition professionals, and of course, the holistic higher education and or academic space. We're here to help you identify the best teachers that can have positive impact on your students. So welcome. And of course, if you are a job seeker, you're also welcome because we'll be sharing insights on the type of interview questions you should expect. Just recently, I shared with you, of course, some of the skills you require in order to get these jobs. But let us go back to, of course, our small presentation and look at what are some of these things that we're going to be testing for, and of course, how LinkedIn can assist. In terms of how LinkedIn can assist you as an organization, as we said, it's about helping you get insights into where to find this talent. So before we actively start advertising, we want to have insights around the type of talent we're hiring. Who else is hiring for it? What type of skill is required and where to find that skill should we struggle to find it by just posting jobs where we can actually actively now reach out to candidates. In terms of how else LinkedIn is assisting academic institutions, like I mentioned, we have the Recruiter platform, which helps you reach out to candidates. Helps you without needing an email address, without needing a phone number. You can actively reach out to candidates in their inbox on LinkedIn and start talking about the jobs that you have for teachers, hiring assistants, and of course, your student teacher roles. What's more, we help you as an academic institution tell your story. In order for someone to apply for your organization, I need to know what your organization stands for. So what are your commitments? What are your values? How do you treat employees? Do you develop them? Do they grow? What kind of facilities do you have? And of course, on LinkedIn, we get to tell that story. What's more, beyond telling your story and helping you plan out the type of talent you want and where to find it, we have, of course, the jobs platform where people can actively apply so that you spend your time focused on interviewing candidates. So the idea is not for you as a recruiter or hiring manager to spend all day on LinkedIn. We want the technology to work for you so that ultimately you spend your time working on top quality candidates that have the skills, the experience, and the education that you need. So those are some of the ways that we are assisting organizations, but let's now get into the practicals of how to hire a teacher. So we already know, because we've all been through school, I guess, is why we hire teachers. We bring in teachers into academic institutions because they help us in terms of developing our curriculum. They help us in terms of delivery of that curriculum. They help us in terms of engaging our students and grading our students. Our teachers are there to help us monitor and evaluate how students are pacing and which students need help. Our teachers are the first ones to interact with the future doctors, presidents, and people in roles like yourself. So this is why we hire teachers. So now that we have that understanding of why we hire teachers, maybe let's transition on to what are the skills that are being looked for when someone is looking for teachers. Of course, LinkedIn has over 120,000 companies on the platform. LinkedIn also has 59 million companies on this platform. And what we do is we look at how those jobs are being posted, what are some of the skills they're looking for, and then we bring these to those we're in partnership with so that we can help you identify and hire the best in class and the best talent out there. So in terms of course, hiring teachers, of course, this is a regulated job, so we would look out for your degree, we would look out for your industry knowledge, would look out, of course, to see your organizational and communication skills. In terms of some of the preferred skills, some of the skills that matter in this new world is, of course, if a teacher is able to go beyond the classroom. You hear me right? If a teacher is able to go beyond the classroom. And there's two ways to do this. One of the ways is a teacher able to assist us with our extracurricular activities, whether it be sports or clubs. Do you have those skills? And are those skills showing on your profile? They could be showing through your volunteer experience. They could be showing through your awards and certification. Perhaps you were a captain in your school team. So they look to understand what else can you add beyond the classroom. Number two, in terms of going beyond the classroom, like I said, we're in a digitally transformed world. So in terms of digital transformation, how transformative are you as a teacher? How comfortable are you in terms of using some of these tools to engage students, to monitor students, to encourage students to learn and to develop a lifelong learning culture? So these are some of the skills that these are some of the skills preferred, and of course, some of the expected ones that they would expect from you if you're going for this role. And like last week, when I shared this, I also wanted to speak to not just the recruiters. I also wanted to speak to you who are job seekers who are watching this live stream. How do you identify these jobs for teachers? Well, LinkedIn makes it quite simple for us. How so? First of all, with our free LinkedIn profiles, right? Our free LinkedIn profiles, we have the opportunity to go to the Jobs tab. And when we get to the Jobs tab, we have an opportunity to look up teaching jobs that are either within our region or regions or geographies where we want to work. We get to understand the language that is being used and, of course, how recruiters are going to test for impact results or to go into shortlist. We get to understand what they're testing for. With that in mind, we go back to our profiles, build our profiles authentically to highlight the skills that we have that are aligned to what they're searching for. And where we don't have the skills, like I said, we have platforms like LinkedIn Learning that help us quickly get those skills that are going to be required. Now, some of those skills might be essential soft skills, time management, the way you have organizational skills as an individual. How are you showing that? Or even your digitally transformed skills. So you update your profile. Once you're done with that, then again, we go back to the jobs tab. And what we're doing in the jobs tab is again using specific filters to identify those jobs, like we said, that matter to us or that interest us in terms of a career. And when we have those, we set up alerts. And those alerts will then serve for LinkedIn to send to you, depending on the preference that you have, send to you, to your inbox or to your email, jobs that are aligned to the things that you're most interested in. So as a job seeker, you can go one last step further. You can go onto your profile and use the digital badge open to work to highlight to the world that you're looking for economic opportunities. What's more, if you switch on the open to work badge, you have an opportunity to tell recruiters what type of jobs you're interested in. Is it substitute jobs? Is it being a teaching assistant? Is it a full-time teaching job? Is it a hybrid job? Is it a virtual job? You have that opportunity to tell that story. Your LinkedIn profile belongs to you. Own it if you're looking to get jobs in higher education as a teacher or as a teaching assistant. Let's switch back. Let's switch back to, of course, our recruiters, our hiring managers, our academic institutions that are actually looking to bring in this talent. Now, in order for you to be successful in attracting, in engaging, in getting applications from the best talent out there, what I first encourage you to do is to tell a compelling story. Telling a compelling story on LinkedIn, like I said, can be through having a career page where we highlight the type of people you're going to work with, the type of people you report to, and we highlight some of our talent in our organization. Again, we also get to highlight why people join us, some of the benefits of joining us, or even some of the programs we're running in this school that are helping students. We also get to see employee perspectives and employee testimonials that help candidates make up their mind to apply for your organization. And what's more, like we said, not everyone has been to your school, and not everyone is able to travel to your school before they apply for your roles. So what you want as an organization is on LinkedIn is to show off some of those great facilities that you have that will be utilized by those teachers who are coming to join you. Helping someone understand the work environment takes them one step closer in applying for your job. What's going to actually get them to move on this one is when they get to understand what are some of the things you're going to be testing for based on my application. So first of all, you've done a great job of telling me, and I'm going to go full screen on this one so that you can all read this, is first of all, giving a clear job description, using language that speaks to your organization and the expectations you have around those who join you. Next, we want to then go out and outline very clearly what are the objectives of this role. What do we expect from someone in this role? And we go further in terms of what our expectations are for someone in this role by outlining some of the responsibilities. Now, you need to read this carefully. Of course, if you are a job seeker, you want to ensure that some of these things that are expectations are clearly outlined in your language as you describe yourself on your LinkedIn profile. And that goes so much further than just putting it in your certificates and in your skills, but it goes into describing even the work experience. So in your work experience portion of your LinkedIn profile, how are you describing how you have some of these skills, how you have some of these character traits, or how you have some of the experience that they're testing for in this job description? What's more, we want to highlight for candidates quite clearly what are the required skills and qualifications. And then we want to have a section where we talk about the preferred ones. What's going to help you stand out as a young professional or as a transitioning higher education professional looking for a job at an institution? As I promised you, we'll look at very quickly now what are some of the top questions to be asking for if you're looking to hire teachers. We said we'll look at some of the hard skill questions, behavioral intelligence questions, and some of the soft skills that you can test for. So if you are going for an interview, this section will be interesting for you because these are some of the questions you can expect. And of course, if you're a hiring manager, if you're a talent acquisition professional, or you are a head of school, here's what I want you to walk away from this live stream knowing. Although I'm going to feature questions here for just teaching, we have questions, best practices for any job you're looking to hire for within your organization. Maybe I should correct that. Not any job. About 139 jobs, we have interview questions that are best in class that will help you identify some of the skills that are essential for someone to be successful in a role. So here's the first question that you might ask for in terms of testing for hard skills is how do you assess academic growth? And what you're looking for here is you're looking to test how this individual has an ability to identify, to support improvement, and to create action plans for future lessons. Other things that you might be testing for here is if someone has proven experience in the collection of data in the academic space and, of course, analysis of that data. First hard interview question taken care of. Let's move on to the second hard interview question in terms of what you can expect and how we're supporting hiring managers identify the best teachers. This question relates to what I was talking about earlier. How are you using technology to enhance your instruction? Ultimately, here, I'm looking to understand if you have skills, digital literacy skills, and how you're leveraging those to not only make yourself a better organized educator, but I'm also looking to understand, if I'm the interviewer, I'm also looking to understand how you're leveraging technology in the classroom. How you're leveraging this to engage students on topics that might sometimes not be as engaging for our students, based on, of course, your experience. The next question I might want to ask you from a hard skills perspective is maybe to say, how do you ensure that your instruction is differentiated and made accessible to all learners? So what are we testing for here? We're testing to understand your agility, your ability to be flexible to an ever-changing classroom situation where we know students are in different stages of understanding and learning. So we're testing here to understand your flexibility and your ability to use a differentiated approach to teaching a subject. So these are some of the hard questions that I would ask someone if I was hiring, of course, for a teacher. Let's move on. Next, in terms of top behavioral interview questions, I would ask someone if we're hiring a teacher. So tell me about a time that you had to resolve conflict between a parent and, of course, between a parent and the institution regarding students' behavior. Now, why are we testing for this? Behavioral questions help us understand the type of person you are. So in this case, when you tell us about an instance where you had to confront a parent about a student's behavior, what we're testing to understand is your conflict resolution, your negotiation skills, and of course, your understanding of the rules. And of course, what you can do with students, and of course, how you manage better relationships between the school and the parent. Relationships matter. And this is why I was saying earlier on to those who are looking for jobs that as much as we are qualified teachers, as much as we are professionals that can give instructions to students, we want to ensure that when recruiters are looking for us, we want to ensure that we're shortlisted and we're brought in for interviews. And one of the ways we ensure that is that we have on our profiles, we have the essential soft skills that they're testing for. In this case, behavioral questions speak to some of those soft skills in terms of relationship management, collaboration, and other areas of building relationships between students, the school, and of course, parents who bring them in. Next, in terms of behavioral questions, we're nearly at the end of this, folks, because I did say it's a short live stream. But in terms of top behavioral questions to ask hiring of teachers is, of course, tell me about the last time you had a lesson plan that didn't go well. What I'm looking for here, if I was interviewing, is of course for your authenticity, to understand how you plan for your lessons, to understand how you kick them off, to also understand where you've had some failings. So I'm expecting here some authenticness of situations that you have struggled with in the past that did not go as well, but you found a way to claw back the situation. So that's what they're testing for. Last behavioral question that I would ask is, explain maybe your rapport with students and how it's helped contribute to their growth. Again, you see relationships coming up. Relationships matter in the teaching profession. So how is your resume, how is your profile outlining your communication skills? How is it outlining the ability for you to foster and get communities working together? Is it by you leading clubs? Is it by you orchestrating initiatives that bring in teachers and, of course, parents mutually to try and drive positive outcomes out of our student community? So those are the top 3 behavioral questions I would ask. And then I wanted to end off with some of the top 3 soft skills that may be asked. First of all, explain to me your classroom management style and why it's effective. Of course, you are going to get access to these slides after this session, so I won't read through it and I won't touch on every single point, because you are going to get access to this with the QR code that I'm going to give at the end. And of course, if you are a job seeker, you're not left behind. With the QR code, you'll also get access on how to build your profile and apply for these roles. But let's get back to, of course, the top 3 soft skills that you might ask for. We've covered number 1. Number 2, in terms of organizational skills, I might want to ask you, what are your best practices for organization? Whether it be from your lesson plan, how you interact and prepare for student plans, and of course, how you identify the strengths and weaknesses of the teaching organization and how we are going to help strengthen it. In terms of last top skill that you might ask for, top soft skill, is of course getting to understand how that person, that individual, that candidate ensures that his lessons and his classes are engaging. Like we said, during COVID, a lot of us had to transition from classroom to teaching on platforms such as Teams, Zoom, etc. So here's a chance for you to tell that story on how you're helping to teach and keep your students engaged. Might not be digital. You might be focusing on, of course, in the classroom, here's how I get students involved, participating, and engaged in the curriculum that I'm teaching. As I said, some of these you're going to, all these slides, you're going to get in the QR code that we're providing afterwards. What you'll also find in it is that it'll share with you how to hire a teaching assistant, which we will not cover in this session. We'll look at, you'll see, of course, what are some of the skills and qualifications that you might use to hire a teaching assistant. But that's not all in terms of the teaching community. As I said, there are 3 roles that we cover, especially at LinkedIn, in terms of the teaching fraternity, is of course teachers, teaching assistants, and of course substitute teachers who come in to backfill when teachers are not available. So you will find in the slides that you're going to get how to identify substitute teachers and, of course, the skills that you can test for substitute teachers. Folks, we're at the end. If you have questions, this is the last few minutes for you to ask questions. I know it's Monday. You've got a lot to get into. So let me summarize how we can take things forward following this live stream. So following this live stream, if you're in higher education, if you're a teacher, if you're, of course, a headmaster, a principal, if you're a talent acquisition professional, a hiring manager, or a recruiter, we're looking to partner with you. We're looking to support you, plan, hire, and develop that talent that's within your organization. There's several tools that LinkedIn has available for this. I alluded to some of these. Some of these will be some of our recruiting tools that will help you reach out to candidates that might not have applied for your roles. So as a recruiter, you have over 44 filters plus that you can use to identify talent. What's more, in terms of identifying talent, like I said, being able to know what's happening in our marketplace, where that talent is, who's hiring for that talent, how hard it is to hire for that talent, what are the fastest growing skills associated with that talent. Being able to have a lens holistically of your region, of the markets you're trying to hire from, will make you more successful. So definitely in terms of tools and things that we can help you with, we have insights that will give you a perspective of the marketplace, the talent, and of course, some of the competition that you have in that space. So definitely reach out and get in touch. And of course, like we said, we're developing talent. And in developing talent, LinkedIn has over 18,000 courses. 18,000 courses. And how we develop these courses, here's what makes LinkedIn unique. What makes it unique is that as we talk about these jobs, as organizations post out these jobs, we're looking to understand what skills these organizations are hiring for. And having understood that, and where we've identified where there are gaps between what organizations are looking for and what you, the people out there who have talent, what you're missing in terms of skills, that's how we develop the content that's world class so that you can get access to those economic opportunities. But the same content that you're using to learn to get a job, you also find content that helps one become a better recruiter, that helps one become a better hiring manager and asking some of those interview questions that we saw. And what's more, once those teachers join us, we want to continue to develop them. So some of these 18,000 courses are made available to your organization so that those who join you continue to grow. When people get the opportunity to grow in your organization, they tend to stay much longer than would have been expected. All right, final slide, folks. Like I said, end of our live stream. If there's any questions, jump into it. And of course, I'll bring Marius back on screen. But as we end this off, here's the call to action and here's some context for you. So in terms of context for you after this live stream, like I said, if you're watching from various geographies, whether you're watching from East Africa, you're watching, of course, from Romania, watching from Israel, you're watching from Nigeria, or you're watching from South Africa, these are some of my colleagues and contacts that you can reach out to so we can have one-on-one time with you to help your organization hire, to help your organization plan, to help your organization brand and bring in the best talent. That's it, folks, in terms of presentation and information on how to hire a rockstar teacher, a rockstar teaching assistant, and a rockstar substitute teacher. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work with your academic institution. If you're just joining this live stream, there will be, of course, a replay of this live stream so you can watch it at your own pace. And as I said, I've got colleagues that are on the stream that you can reach out to, or you can DM me directly here on LinkedIn. As we said, this live stream has been essentially about helping higher educational institutions find the best talent. It's time to shine as an institution. It's time for us to shine in terms of outlining how we're going to develop you, how you're going to have impact on our students, and how we're going to deliver holistic academic success. So if you are an academic institution, get in touch. Let's talk. And now, with that, let me check if Marius has got any questions before we release everybody back to a Monday and, of course, back to the multiple activities that we need to all do. So, Marius, how was that stream? Did you learn something?
Dude, that was over the top. Like that level of energy for a Monday is amazing. You need to carry it through for the rest of the week. We don't have any questions this time. I think you were so thorough and so amazingly informative with all the behavioral insights and the soft skills and all of the data. I think people are just sitting back and absorbing all of the good stuff you've just shared.
Awesome. I hope they are. And of course, that they use the QR codes to get in touch with us. Next week, Marius, speaking of which, next week on Monday. So, we've covered fundraisers, donor relations, and today we covered teaching, the teaching profession, including assistants and substitutes. Next week, on Monday, we're featuring the role. Do you want to guess, Marius, which role? Anybody on the chat?
No, but I'll give you a drum roll.
Drum roll, please. Next week on Monday on this live stream, same time, we're talking about hiring recruiters. How do we bring in the best talent acquisition people into our institution? Whether we're a school, whether we're a college, whether we're a polytechnic, whether we're a university, we need to have the best in class talent attraction skills, talent engagement skills, and shortlisting skills in our organization. So we'll be talking to recruiters, those who hire. So next week, how to hire a Rockstar recruiter. All right, so if you are a recruiter,
exciting stuff.
Yep, and you are talent acquisition, jump in. Marius, there being no questions, I think it's time to release people and wish them a really good week. Anything from your end?
Have a brilliant week, everybody.
Excellent. And like we said, we have links that are up there for you to scan one more time. And of course, let me hide that banner so that you can pick up those email addresses. Last chance of scanning this as we play out with a video that will help us understand how LinkedIn helps you hire talent. With that, I wish you a fantastic week. Go out there, find opportunities, or be found for opportunities. And for those of you in the hiring space, let's do this together. Let's find the best talent to bring into our organizations. I wish you all a productive, successful, and a healthy week ahead. It's time to shine, folks. Cheers. Have a good week. And of course, let's connect up on Friday to get a sneak preview of how to hire Rockstar talent acquisition and recruiters. All right, with that, let's see how LinkedIn helps you hire as we play out this live stream.
10 minutes of free time. Hundreds of viable candidates. That's a typical day for a recruiter like Janice. It starts with her. She's hustling to fill several business-critical roles at Flexus. There's a product launch coming up and the team is short-handed. She can't just wait for the perfect candidate to walk through the door. And with so many people vying for her attention, she needs an easy way to identify the few who are most likely to thrive. Someone, perhaps, like Emmett. He's an active job seeker and comes to LinkedIn daily to connect to people, information, and opportunities. Based on his skills and experience, he could be a perfect fit for the open role at Flexus. But they're just not on his radar. Until this morning, when an intelligent algorithm matches him to Janice's open role. When he reads the job description, it looks like a fit. He sees that a college friend works there. Now, he's wondering if he can get a referral. It could also be Rachel. She's comfortable in her current role, even if she hasn't been inspired lately. While checking LinkedIn at home, she reads a post from Flexus that really resonates with her. She realizes it may be time to signal that she's open to change. These are just two of the millions of candidate journeys that cross LinkedIn every day, setting up recruiters like Janice to be successful. Here, she has the power to start, spark, and redirect any candidate's journey, and automatically identify top candidates long before they've entered the ATS. This is how Janice strengthens every stage of her hiring funnel and buys herself time to do what she does best: spend quality time with quality candidates. It's how she'll build a winning team to nail this product launch and the next one. Recruiters like Janice know you can't measure success by just tracking where a candidate's journey ends. It's about where they've been and the path that leads them to you. It all starts here.